Hi, everybody. This is Metropolitan Nathanael. Good evening. Kronia Pola for the Feast of the Annunciation, a great feast of our church. I'm joined tonight with two of our priests of our Metropolis, Father Doug Papulis and Father Michael Urbanus, the two priests at St. Nicholas Church in St. Louis. I actually thought that all this time St. Nicholas was a cathedral, Fathers, and you reminded me that you're just a good old church. So
Yep.
Thank you, Fathers, for joining us tonight and for this conversation that we're going to have. The title of our talk tonight is Coping with Coronavirus. Everyone is, of course, experiencing the effects of COVID-19 and the coronavirus that causes the disease. And our lives have really changed drastically. I mean, in a matter of 10 days or so, I think now it's been, everything has changed. How we go about going to work, what we do when we wake up and, during the day, and how we worship even has changed. I wanted to give everybody kind of an update, at least from the Metropolis side, and then to hear from you, the two of you, how you are helping people cope with coronavirus on a parish level. So most of the people now are used to seeing church services done behind closed doors with just the priest and a kind of skeleton crew, as we call it, the chanter and an assistant in the altar. Last Saturday night, we suspended all services, even last Sunday liturgy. And that was a very hard decision that I had to make. And I did it because at the time we were I think most people thought that the maximum number of people that could be in one place was about 250. And what I was receiving from experts was that this was not an accurate number. And they encouraged me and urged me, and many of them pleaded with me to suspend services that Sunday because of the fact that so many people would be coming to our church. We would potentially be putting them at risk, especially the old timers. And as many of the fathers out there know, our parents are not afraid of anything. They very much become like teenagers later on in life, where they're not afraid. They think they're invincible. And many of them were saying, if the church is open, we're going to go no matter what. And so we suspended services that Sunday. But ever since then, services have begun again at our churches. Now they're also being streamed live. And it's amazing what we can do now with technology. And as I've said in a number of different announcements, the Metropolis's priority right now is keeping people safe, making sure that as we do that and help public health efforts to kind of, as they say, flatten the curve and of the effects of coronavirus. It's also important for us to offer spiritual sustenance to help people stay connected to the church. And I think it's very important for us to understand that it is important for us to have the church in our lives, even via distance, when dealing with crises like this. And so, Fathers, I turn to you to kind of let us know what's been going on a parish level there in Missouri, and in particular St. Louis. How are you helping, let's say, Father, what are you doing to help the seniors or the shut-ins or those who are kind of most at risk and can't even go out to purchase groceries? Father Doug,
We have parishioners who are willing and have already begun to deliver, leaving at doorstep, so there's no contact, groceries or medication or anything that a senior or even a non-senior who cannot leave needs. We also have parishioners who are making daily calls to parishioners. So we have parishioners assigned with names, a maximum of 20 names, took our directory, split it up, so that every day a parishioner gets a call to make sure that he or she is well and to see what needs there may be. We also have everyday communication, whether it's through video or an email blast. A prayer each day is sent to parishioners. And then we have other parishioners, either at home or at the office. A message is given, a video message is given, and people are able to stay connected with the church, to know that the church has not succumbed to the virus. The church is alive and well, and they're serving the beloved parishioners, albeit in a different way, but we're still there being connected.
Yeah, I have to say the many of us in the ranks of the clergy have probably shied away from using this type of technology or even being live on Facebook, for example. We probably never thought we would be doing this, but this is, we have to change with the times and adapt and offer the ministries the best way we can. And Father Michael, you've been, a hospital chaplain for many, many years. And you're used to being there next to people when they're at their weakest. How have you been able to comfort people given the new circumstances?
Well, the new circumstances, Your Eminence, have really kept us from hospitals and nursing homes and other places where people are shut in. Even their homes, we really, unless it's a end of life situation, have to operate from a distance. But what we found, and I think some of the other clergy in the Metropolis who we've spoken with have said the same, the important thing is to care, to let them know we care. A lot more of the support is with the families over the phone. The FaceTime is helpful. Our seniors understand and our sick people understand the situation for the most part. And the fact that we're willing to find ways to get to them by phone or by Skype or whatever other way, that's meaningful. Just showing up. It's not so much what we say, it's just making the connection, maintaining the connection. And the hospital chaplains have been really good at this. They are allies for families and for clergy in helping make these connections happen too. And so I'd encourage families and also clergy in the Metropolis to really make use of them. They may be from different backgrounds, but they're there to help. And in many cases, the best way they can help is connecting us with our people.
Yeah, it's interesting. I find that the people are longing for something. I mean, they're just, even in bite-sized morsels. Many people, were coming to church regularly, but there are lots of people out there that weren't attending services that often, and I feel like many of them are now able to connect in new ways. I don't think that they would have been logging in to check, to follow a service. Maybe they're discovering services for the first time during Lent. Some of the services that they don't see during the year. So it's interesting how I think more people are engaged in the life of the church via distance right now than in person. And the hope is that they come back together once this is over, that yearning and desire to be connected. Actually, now we're connected in the most profound way through the Eucharist and in person. How about the young people? What have you found to be the case with our young adults? I mean, they do this all the time. I mean, they're chatting away and using these technologies for the most part every single day of their lives. But how have they responded, and how have you been reaching out to them?
We've been using Zoom to have meetings online. We had after church on this Sunday. And the kids really responded well. They loved it. They love to see each other's faces. They're even the ones who are in high school together or middle school together. Those are the groups we met with this past Sunday. We're going to build in the weeks ahead. They don't get to see their friends from school even, but most of them go to different schools. So this is a way for them to see each other's faces. And we've learned that it works better if we give them something to do ahead of time, like watch a movie, so that we can all discuss it together. It greases the conversation a little bit, moves it along faster. And
Father Michael, how about interaction with the youth and their parents over this material that usually doesn't occur, but now may do so with this medium?
Well, that's a real important point, Father Doug. We have our Sunday school teachers sending lessons home. We've encouraged them to do that, and to the parents, hopefully the parents engaged one-on-one with the kids on their education. Really, they're the primary educators in the faith, we and the Sunday school teachers really are supplementary. We may provide certain information, but attitudes and everything are really from the parents, and getting them involved in this way may bear fruit soon down the road. Hopefully that will continue even when we're back to when we're able to be back in the church and gathered again.
So I wonder how many parents are actually taking advantage of this, right? I mean, knowingly or not. I mean, the kids are home, they're learning from home, they're kind of listening to what they're learning at school, right? They get to see them actually do their work. But also now they're getting to listen to what they're learning at church, right? I think that's an important part for us to keep in mind, that as you're connecting with the young people, someone behind them or, across the kitchen table might be an adult listening to that Sunday school or the lecture or the Bible study. And, so you might be ministering to young people, but in essence, you're actually probably touching more people than you know. Just so everyone knows on Facebook who's live, feel free to write your questions. We'll take your questions at some point. If you have something you wanted to ask me or any of the fathers, feel free to do so. And I'm monitoring. I have like multiple screens up here, so I'm looking at what's coming in. I'm checking to see what's coming in on Facebook, but please feel free to do so. Father Doug, one of the challenges is to kind of figure out when this is going to finish. We're all looking for some good news every single day from someone out there to give us some hope that this will come to an end very quickly, that we'll be able to go back to normal. And so the day after is very important for us, right? So I mentioned how important it is for people to be connected to their church, not only now, but to be ready when things go back to normal. But I just want to put out there that there is going to be, some challenges ahead of us. I mean, we have our churches are not open right now. Our people aren't able to support their churches in the conventional way. And I want to encourage people, if they haven't done so already, to kind of consider helping, contributing, making donations to their parishes. Because we're not even sure if we're going to have festivals even. I know many parishes are used to having festivals. So, Father Doug, what have you found to be the case at St. Nick's, in terms of the supporting the operations? I mean, the church is there and it's comforting us, but we have to make sure it continues to be there. So what have you found?
We had last evening a parish council meeting via Zoom, and the treasurer's report was very encouraging. The parishioners have been still very, very generous. Actually, we had yesterday and the day before 2 large donations come in. In addition to that, they have set up, and I don't understand this stuff, but virtual candle stand or virtual offering tray, and people were very, very generous. So I think the fact that the people know that we're there for them, and that, yes, we're ministering in a different way. We're there for them, and they want to support. They see how important it is. The church is still in their life, and although we can't touch each other physically, we're still in touch with them, and that whatever we can do, we will do for them. And they've been responding in a very positive way, and I don't see that changing. I think they'll continue to do so.
Well, I think, you know what, that's very encouraging. I have somebody making fun of me on top of all of this. I've got to manage a conversation with my 2 priests, and I've got anyway. I think it's encouraging to think about that. To see that your parishioners have stepped up is really encouraging. I don't know how it is at other parishes, but I'm making a plea today and asking people, if you haven't already done so, go on your parish's website. I'm sure that most parishes have this online giving opportunity, and if you don't have that option, call the priest, figure out how you can contribute regularly, because the parish, like most other organizations, has expenses, and we want to make sure that we're able to continue to support the people during this crisis, and not have that interrupted in any way. I just would like to say that I, as a metropolitan, will do whatever I can and use whatever tool and resources available to help raise funds to support parish work. So, I mean, look out for some interesting things in the near future. I may be doing things that I never thought I would be doing. Not getting dunked in a at a festival, like the dunk the clown type of thing. But I think we all have to think outside the box right now to make sure that we are, obviously we're doing that in terms of ministry, but also how we're going to support the ministries. So again, if anyone would like to send any questions, let's see what we have here in terms of comments. I don't know how to use this thing, but let me see what questions we have. Yeah, I see some people sending some great comments saying they also help their friends get some groceries. Someone's asking about confession. Confession is like all sacraments, is a physical element to it. Being close to somebody, and in the case of confession, in front of the priest. We've offered guidance to our priests to consider different ways of hearing confessions, if possible, to do so via distance like this. It's not what we're used to, and it's not the ideal. But if somebody has to say something or share what's on their mind, his mom, what's on their mind, I think it's important that they're able to do that. So we shouldn't say to somebody, no, you can't come to the church because it's, I can't hear your confession, just because we're not able to have you come in. I think the priests have to also, make exceptions to the norm, at least in terms of the form. What else do we have here? So some people are asking about Holy Week and Pascha. That's something that, for us, Pascha is the most important day of the year. It's the day everyone looks forward to. We have people who come to church, unfortunately, once or twice a year, and that's what they can manage, or that's what their choice is. And the idea that we may not have Pascha is something that's on the back of people's minds. We don't hope that's the case. We are working hard to figure out ways that we can celebrate Pascha. It may be a different way that we celebrate Pascha this year. But Father Doug and Father Michael, have you heard from anyone at the parish? Are they concerned about Pascha?
Yes, and even Lent. I've heard a couple of times, Ti Krima, what a shame we can't celebrate Lent. And I remind them, we can celebrate it. We are celebrating it. We must celebrate it, albeit in a different way. And perhaps this year in a way more fully than in past years, because now, we cannot be distracted with entertainment and with shopping and going to the theater. And so, like Israel that went through the wilderness to get to the promised land, this is now our wilderness. And yes, obviously, I don't want to be glib. Obviously, Holy Week and Pascha, the resurrection, will be celebrated in a different way, but it doesn't mean it will not be celebrated, and perhaps more fully once we get through this. Eventually, a resurrection of spirit, of compassion for others, of mercy, of love, and of new life.
Well, I think so. Everyone knows we have a liturgical committee here in the Metropolis, and I've commissioned them to go and study how we would celebrate Holy Week. In different ways, what options we have, and it all depends on what limitations are in place, right? I mean, the hope is everything goes back to normal as quickly as possible. We don't know if that's going to be the case, but the liturgical committee is working hard. They are offering to me different ideas and scenarios. Chances are we will be working with the Holy Eparchial Synod, especially to figure out how we would be celebrating Pascha. I mean, that's the feast that all Orthodox Christians around the world kind of celebrate on the same day, even if they're on different calendars, because there's important. They kind of, I think, with that feast, unity, I would say, is very much aligned with uniformity. And so we, at least here in this country, would probably want to do as much as possible in a uniform way with regard to Pascha. But there are different states that have different restrictions in place. Mm-hmm. And so we would have to respect the law and whatever mandates are issued by elected and government officials. We cannot just do what we want. I have a question here related to someone's asking about summer camps. And, right now we are looking at how we're going to handle these types of group gatherings, right? The Metropolis has, for the most part, suspended or canceled anything up to May 1st. We feel that is probably the safest thing to do. And, we hope to be able to have Fanari Camp and the other camps in the Metropolis, St. Mary's Camp. But, I will say that the ability for us to have the summer camp will really depend on where we are with the coronavirus. I mean, we do not want to place our kids in any harm's way. So we haven't canceled summer camp. We hope that we can have summer camp. But the truth is that we're just going to have to wait for now. I know that it sold out very quickly, and so the kids are still registered. But we are looking at things 2 months out because things are changing so rapidly. We don't want to be able to say camp is definitely canceled or it's definitely happening just yet. Fathers, did you have a message that you wanted to offer to the people? We're almost at that 6 o'clock mark. Did you have any kind of words of advice or kind of inspiration that you wanted to offer?
I have been surprisingly amazed at how positive people have been, how faithful and steadfast they have been with the church and their relationship with the church and their kindness towards one another and willingness to help out. I've seen nothing but a lot of faith. And it's important, this connection with the church, because otherwise if people just stay connected with the news and all they hear is desperation and doom and gloom, they're going to become despondent. But I haven't seen that yet, and I hope I don't see it. But people they've stepped up to the plate. It's been really inspiring for me. I think I'm inspiring them. They've been inspiring me more by their faithfulness and love for God and love for one another. It's been really, really wonderful.
Yes, we're walking through this together, and that's really important. This is a time of anticipation. Lent is always a time of anticipation of the Pascha, and the fulfillment at Pascha is just a little hint of the joy that is to come. And so whenever we get back together in our communities, there's going to be a great celebration. And that is only going to be a foretaste of what lies ahead. And we've been talking about this theme of exile, but also of hope. And we know that we'll be looking back at this sometime. And we pray that the Lord will give us strength to look back and say, we did our best.
Well, I thank you, Fathers. I will just say this. I think crises like this tend to bring the best out of us, right? Not just clergy, but of all people. I mean, I think, and not all Orthodox. I mean, we're talking about all people. People rise to the occasion, and we remember various moments in the life of our country and moments of crisis in the world where people have shown their best. I will also say that I very much look forward to not just coming back together and kind of going back to the status quo. I think this is an opportunity for us as a community to become a better community, to become a more vibrant community, to reprioritize what's important to us, to change how we've been doing things. This is, this is in many ways a blessing that we're enduring right now, great heartaches and hardships, and indeed it's very difficult. But I do feel like we have a very unique opportunity to present a more authentic church. And I look forward to that. And I look forward to walking with each of you, fathers, and all the other fathers and clergy who are working so hard in our metropolis. But with all of the faithful people of our metropolis of Chicago, we will continue to offer these kind of conversations every week. We hope to do 2 of them per week. So stay tuned, and please share the news with others so that they can learn something or benefit from our conversations. God bless you, fathers. Thanks a lot. Thank you. God bless everyone. Thank you.